Hi everyone. I have graded your Typhon logs and your portfolio part 2 and provided feedback. For Typhon, you're going to have a grade in the gradebook for your log, but the actual detailed feedback is going to be in the Typhon log. So go there and read my feedback on things that need to be corrected. Make sure that you review the information about submitting your time. Several of you, when you were doing your time, you did not provide a summary total that should be in your shift column. The shift total is the far left-hand column. It's okay to further subdivide the how you spent your time, whether it was in your with your preceptor or teaching or meetings, however you did that. What's going to matter is what your shift time totals are, so that when we calculate to make sure all of your hours are there for graduation, that's going to be the column we're going to use. So make sure that that column accurately reflects the time that you have spent there. The other comments from your logs, make sure that when you are referencing in your application section that you're citing and you're referencing the NLN Nurse Educator core competencies. Avoid using the number of the competency in lieu of the actual term. So instead of NLN 1, add the NLN facilitating learning. Just put the words in the brackets. That way I know exactly that you know what you know, and that we're not using numbers in a way that doesn't have a common meaning. Sometimes the numbering, if you use the book versus another online source, can be different. So make sure that you're actually putting in parentheses the full NLN role that you're using. I think that's it. The only other thing that I noticed was that the supportive narrative section, that middle section, that should be really the bulk of your practicum log. In that section, make sure that you are adding the supportive narrative section, adding self-reflection. Your self-reflection is the thoughts that you have while you're in the clinical setting, while you're in your practicum, about what's occurring. Whether you're sitting in observing your teacher, your preceptor teach, or whether you yourself are teaching, maybe you're in a clinical environment and you're working with a nurse educator. What are your thoughts and feelings about those experiences? Were there surprises? Were there pearls of wisdom that you took away from it and thought, wow, I never thought about it like that? Insights, things that you know that you learned that day and you're going to apply to future practice. Those are the things that we integrate into our own awareness and our own professional development. So it's key that you include those self-reflections, those aha moments in that supportive narrative section. So moving on to the portfolio, I was so excited to see your part 2s of your portfolios. So many of them were so creative and so bold and really had a character to them. So when I open your portfolio, really get a sense of who you are as an individual as well as a professional. Please forgive Gracie. That's the little one running around behind me. She thinks it's playtime with her sister. Madeline will come flying through in a moment. Gracie. I'm sorry. This is the real world. This is exactly what happens at about mid-morning. I may have to go put someone in timeout. Ignore the man behind the screen. He's only getting a puppy. Okay. I have no idea where I was. Okay. The self-reflection. Okay. Portfolios, you guys were fabulous. So many great things. The one thing I'm noticing that is consistently being forgotten, not by everybody, but by a few, is to include the demonstrating of the competencies. And all that means is to remember, and you're going to use the standard numbers, which I'm not thrilled with, but I don't want you to put all these words in, but you're going to use the table that's on the portfolio instructions of the numbered competencies, and then you're going to bracket them after the concepts that align with those. You don't have to do every single concept, but you should demonstrate throughout your portfolio in those brackets of how it connects with the NLN core competency. I should be able to take your portfolio and look at this and compare it to the NLN core competencies and be able to see your progression as well as your future planning towards the role of the nurse educator. That's all the numbers in the brackets are doing. there, just connecting the dots, because we know that you're going to potentially publish this portfolio to an employer or use it in the future for giving it to a manager or in another professional role. That's the reason we have the numbers, not the full terminology in the portfolio. So any errors that you've made in part 2, make sure that you're correcting them before part 3. That being said, your integrated literature review part 2 is due next week. I gave you feedback in the Adobe Spark video. Remember, you're going to have 2 files that you're going to load. One is going to be that matrix. The second part is going to be your word narrative that's going to be a synthesis of what you found in the literature. It's not going to be a summation. It's going to be basically saying, this is what I found. These are how these handful of articles are similar. These are their common themes. These are the ones that are different, and be able to start grouping your ideas so that you can take that analysis and then put it in to your part 3, where you'll do your discussion, and you'll be able to connect your analysis with the so what factor, the how all of these articles relate and what does it mean for my practice. That's the part 3. Part 2 is just the analysis of what you have. Avoid making a list of every single article and summarizing every single article. It's going to be exhaustive and it's going to be redundant. You want a synthesis. Pull common articles together, properly cite them. This is a section of your paper you're probably going to use a combined in-text citation. That means that you'll talk about articles that have a similar theme. Let's say you pick 3 that have similar themes and concepts, and you're going to give a little bit of information about those. And in the end, your in-text citation will be the authors of Article 1, semicolon, the authors of Article 2, semicolon, and the authors of Article 3, so, you're going to put, and then close the parentheses. You'll actually use multiple authors in an in-text citation. And of course, there is an APA way to do that. So make sure you grab your book and look at that. I know this is hard, but I want to remind you, this is a capstone course. This is the be end of all. This is the demonstration of how much you've grown and how much knowledge you have synthesized throughout this program. Hang in there. It is going to be worth the effort. Do this baby step by baby step and follow the rubric closely. Do not hesitate to contact me with questions. Common questions, use the Ask the Professor discussion board. Questions that are specific to you, holler at me and send me an email. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. In my house, we have a tradition at the time of our Thanksgiving meal. We go around the table and say what we're thankful for. Know that this year that I will be counting you. I hope you all have a Thanksgiving full of blessings, lots of wonderful family, and really, really good food. Y'all take care.